So, without further ado, thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of tonight's adventure here on Folk and Myth and joining us for Ysterra, the Far Horizon. Ian, would you please do us all a favor and give us a bit of a recap on the adventures last time?
I want to preface that I'm probably going to do something that's going to frustrate Miko, but I do it with love and everything for the bit. But you're not going to know when I'm going to do it. Hey, friend, I hope you had a good week. How was work today? Good. I'm happy you're here. So check it. Last week's episode got me sweating out my weave. Let me tell you. So listen, after we, do all of the bureaucratic nonsense, right? We were saved by the lovely blue dragon lady that the name Zarethra pops into my head because I'm terrible with notes. Becomes our patron. We make our way back to the boat. Now, granted, after we did this huge, crazy spectacle, of course, the town is going to want to know what's going on. What's with that boat? It flies. I heard there's a very attractive older gentleman that turns into a bear. That's the captain. We should really definitely see what he's got going on. So here we are walking, right? And what did we spot? We was like, hold on, what's that? Who's that? Oh, a bunch of looky-loos trying to see what's going on with the boat. Huge crowd. We don't know how long they've been there, but it seems like they come in droves, going, waxing and waning, the oohs and the ahs. So normally, we got to figure out what we're going to do. Now, I'll be honest with you. Braden, in this moment, he's worried about Oriana. She's having a panic attack, and we don't like that. Our sweet, sweet, multi-eyed baby girl. We don't want none of that happening to them. So he gets all in like, maybe we could just scare them off. But going over to his better judgment, which is the three of the trio here, decided to allow them to kind of talk it off. So they give him the museum treatment. This is what this is. Ooh, look at this. Mage hand. Doing all of this cool stuff to kind of distract everyone from actually getting on the boat, right? While they're on the boat, Bryn was talking to Rin, saying, hey, look out over there. It's a bunch of dudes standing by a rock. Bryn's like, it's a mountain, the tide. Of course they're standing by a rock. Like, no, look at this rock over there. They're wearing hoods and stuff. Very suspicious. Indeed. So we go to a little bit later in the evening, and our friend Mira trying to sneak out. But Bryn's got them dad senses. He's standing out and he's like, what are you doing? I ain't doing nothing. What are you doing? I ain't doing nothing. You want to go see the rock? What rock? You know a rock. Yeah, I want to see the rock. Let's go see the rock. So they go and they see the rock. Sneaking. And they see it's this big ethereal rock. These two genasi, to which I'm not going to say which ones they are because apparently I got it wrong in the last episode and I turned into a bit, are there guarding the rock. Now, Ian, as a player, is like, I want to go touch this rock. But Brandon is like, we shouldn't go touch this rock. Apparently, Deb was reading my mind and decided that she wanted to go touch the rock. So although inside Ian, I'm like, yeah, let's go touch the rock. Brandon's like, hey, we should probably not go touch that rock. And she said, hell no, I'm finna go touch that rock. And so she went up and went touch the rock. Closer she gets, she can feel this magnitude of ascended power that's just drawing her in, and Brent's freaking out. So he gets a rope, ties it around him, and says, as soon as something happens, I'm pulling you out. Okay, yeah, whatever. She reaches out for the rock, touches it, and is just consumed with all of this ascended energy. Scandal, right? What are we supposed to do? So Bryn freaks out and just starts running in the opposite direction, dragging our sweet baby Mira, hopefully to safety. Burns all across. She's freaking out, eyes rolling in the back of the head, not the fun way. And she's like, what are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do? So Bryn makes himself big, starts trudging, running, out of breath, asthmatic. Makes it all the way to the boat. Once he gets there, we get her back on. And now everybody was scrambling to see what's going on. Again, mind you, Burns freaking out. Brad's like, don't let 80 see her because she's got that emotion power and I don't want that smoke. 80 don't listen. She don't ever listen. in this particular case, though, she was right for once. So, long story short, best friend. We are in quite a pickle, and it's not Dill. So hopefully we can figure something out in this episode, because I don't know if I got the stomach, if you were in the green room, to see if things go assed up, because that's what popped into my head. I hope you had a great time, best friend. You look good. You're healthy. You're drinking your water. I'll let your boy. I'm going to stop doing that now.
I appreciate all of that, Ian. Thank you so much. Yes, round of applause. Round of applause. Thank you so much for that amazing recap. Good luck topping that next week, Beth.
I'm not even going to try. It's fine. You guys are going to get what you get.
Get what we get. That's all we can hope for. That's all we can hope for. Ladies and gentlemen, as we continue tonight's episode, Ren had come back after fleeing out of the ship in search of the cloaked individuals that had been hanging around the large crystalline rock formation that Mira had perhaps a little bit errantly laid a hand upon. She came back to the ship a little bit out of breath and quite a bit frustrated at her prey having escaped her hunt. There's a bit of a discussion that takes place between Bren and Ren that Ren very much does not want to have, but Bren, being the captain, gets a little bit out of her, where she simply tells him in the end that they seemed to have a firm grasp of the magic of shadows. And anyone that wields magic like that is certainly a danger and something that we should watch out for. There is still quite a bit of concern over Mira's state, not having recovered consciousness just yet as the hours of the evening progress on. Her hand covered in a healing poultice that Dove and Nora concocted, wrapped and bound, trying to ensure that hopefully any infection can be staved off from the serious blackened flesh that makes up Mira's right hand now. It's very plain to see that Mira is in a state of distress. Pallor in her cheeks, the state in which she grimaces despite her unconsciousness, all of it's concerning. I think it's fairly safe to say that 80 can feel a great deal of distress from whatever dreams that her sister might be having in this moment. But throughout all of that, each of you does manage to try to find some rest for the evening. Morning comes, and as the suns rise, it feels early. You all do manage to all get your long rest in, but none of you goes a full night of sleep. Each of you wakes up at various points for forcing yourself back to bed. At one point, Tig comes over to Sisk. Sisk, having woken up 2 or 3 times, obvious concern, and kind of forcing them to lay back down and standing watch over Sisk in order to provide that hopeful comfort and safety net to help Sisk get a modicum of sleep. But as the suns rise, none of you have any illusions to feeling great about the situation. Even Ren, who notoriously has been able to meditate through anything, her elven heritage, one that doesn't necessarily require sleep in the same way that the rest of you do, even she is very notably bothered and disturbed. Usually she has breakfast waiting for everyone as they wake up, but on this morning, you're lucky that you're getting sliced bread and perhaps some butter to go with this morning. There's a bit of stress notably happening throughout the ship. Even young Terran takes note of things as the morning begins and seems to be going out of his way to try to make sure that everything is being done that needs to get done of the various ship tasks that he is capable of doing. Deb. Mira actually awakens first out of everyone, although she may not necessarily understand things particularly well given the compromised mental state that she is in. She knows that she awakens a few times throughout the night. Phelan is there in the room with her, 80 as well. And as the sun's light creeps through the windows of her room, and she gets to see everyone, she feels, obviously, an immense headache. But more notably than that, she can't feel her right hand. Maybe that's a good thing. She can't see it either in the moment, because it's all bound and wrapped. And I think that there is a part of her that is desperately hoping that the reason that she can't move it is because of the wrap. But that is the state of things for her. What do you think she does as the sun's light crests in through the window and she awakens fully?
I think she feels a little bit restless. And so she starts to get up, hoping that maybe a little bit of fresh air will help her headache. And so I think she tries to go up to the deck.
Make me a Constitution saving throw, please.
Sure. Dirty 20.
Okay. She falters as she gets up onto her feet. She stumbles into the door frame as the door opens, disoriented, dizzy. Her feet kind of slip underneath of her a bit, but she catches herself and doesn't fall completely. Phelan awakens immediately at the noise and rushes to Mira's side. You all right?
I think so. My head really hurts. I thought maybe some fresh air would help.
Sure. Can I help you?
She doesn't want to say yes, but I think she thinks about it for half a second and then nods.
Phelan starts guiding her down the hallway. You don't have to go very far before you reach the crew deck. And the stairs that lead up are mostly safe. So Phelan kind of leads you over to the stairs, and I'm going to get you some tea. That's all right. Think you can manage the steps?
Yeah.
All
Thank
right.
you.
They rush over to the kitchen and immediately, not exactly their preferred terrain, so to speak, the kitchen, but they start doing their best to whip some tea together for you. As you start making your way up the steps, you start feeling pain in your hand. More at the wrist than anything else. It's like this pulsing, throbbing sensation. Just hurts. And as soon as you start feeling that pain, everything starts to hurt. You grit your teeth through it, you make your way up to the top. The last couple of steps, you stumble a little bit, and you find Ren standing at the top of the steps. There's a pause while Ren kind of looks at you before she lowers her hand down to your uninjured hand and offers you help for the last couple of steps.
I take it right away.
As you rise up onto the deck of the ship, Ren lets go unless you hold on for any reason. But she just looks at you and seems to be kind of appraising things. You look a little rough.
I don't feel great.
I don't imagine you would.
What happened exactly?
I was about to ask you that. All I know is Bran brought you back from whatever brought you back from whatever the two of you got up to over there at that crystalline rock formation, and you were not conscious. I think it was fair to say, if it wasn't for whatever this connection that you have with your ascendant is, you'd likely be dead.
Mira starts to think about what happened and then feels the pain in her hand and I think gets a wave of nausea and tries to make it over to the side of the deck to
Ren
not throw up.
Immediately leads you over to the side of the deck, which thankfully is not that far away, recognizing the state of things. You had the pretty strong constitution before, so I'll leave it up to you if you actually do alleviate your stomach. But as you reach the edge of the ship and you clutch onto it with your one good hand, and you lay your other hand upon the edge of the ship, the pain itself is almost unbearable.
She absolutely pukes over the side.
Ren kind of just keeps looking around and that whole, patting your back sort of thing, letting you get it all out. At one point, she looks over and sees Terran, up on the navigation deck and mouths some words to him about fetching a pail and some rags and such to clean things up. He starts doing the few deckhand duties that he can. As Mira finishes, Ren just looks at her. So you don't know exactly what happened then?
I remember going out there and feeling really strong, powerful magic. I think I tried to figure out what it was or where it was coming from.
Worth noting that when I went and checked on things, I did see a charred mark vaguely in the shape of a handprint on the crystal, which I'm assuming was you.
Yep. That was me.
All right then. maybe be a little more careful next time, I guess. Unless this whole ascendant thing is going to protect you from this sort of action all the time. I don't know.
I'm guessing Orlumis doesn't protect from stupidity more than once, so...
Yeah, I don't know how any of the ascendant stuff works. So not really my... I don't know, I just don't feel it. But hey, you do you. When it comes to that sort of thing, you probably understand it a great deal better than me. What I can tell you is that whoever those figures were, they've got some pretty powerful magic at their beck and call. I don't often find myself able to, or unable, to get after people. But when they start throwing shadow magic, being able to dip and dive into shadows as if they were doorways, know that I'm dealing with somebody I probably don't want to be. So just keep that in mind. Anyway, I'm going to go do another scout, see if there's anything lurking in the shadows of the morning. You should know that your sister handled it pretty well. Given everything, that is.
She's pretty good under pressure when she has to be.
Yeah. Maybe Miss Vi. She just kind of turns and walks away. He goes and retrieves a couple of things and then dips over the edge of the ship. Balin comes up a few seconds later with that cup of tea. I think I might have burnt the leaves a little bit, but best I can do. You want coffee? I think that would be, easier. Tig makes that, so.
Burnt leaves. I guess it'll go well with my burnt hands, so I'm sure it's fine. How bad is it?
I mean, it's, ironically, I've seen worse. But, it's not good.
I feel like from a corner you just hear like it's real bad, and like Bryn is, yeah.
Go ahead.
So, Bryn is like the stairs that go to the lower deck. They go up to kind of like this large square porthole, and you just look over to where that is, and you see this. Like it's this much of bread, a little wisp of smoke from a coffee. And he's just like, it's real bad. He doesn't move. He just stands there menacingly.
Balin just kind of looks over at you, Bren, and clears their throat. Anything in particular you want us to be doing this morning, Captain?
Still doing this. Just your normal daily duties. We have guests this evening. We want to keep the ship looking as good as possible, presentable for guests.
Right. I'll get to that. Balin just kind of squeezes Mira's shoulder and watches her for a moment before moving on.
How are you feeling?
Like shit.
You don't say.
How are you feeling?
Same. And again, he still hasn't moved from this position. It's like that large, like, hole that goes to the lower deck, and he's just standing there. He's like, same. He's giving a full, what is that, home improvement neighbor thing.
Wilson.
There it is.
You got any thing like this?
Do you want to? Full head pops up. Do you want to know my response to that?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
No, Mira. No, I don't have anything like that. Not a single scorch mark on me. Now, I wonder why that is, Mira.
Because you're smarter than me.
No. Now, this time, answer it correctly. Why don't I have a single scorch mark on me? Because I didn't touch the rock. I didn't touch the rock. I didn't touch the ascended rock. We were 50 feet away from it, and we could see, now he fully comes up to the deck, and we could see that there is something wrong with it, and your first thought was to touch it.
Mira, like, pushes herself to try and stand up. She had, like, slumped against the against the floor of the deck, and she, like, stands up. You wanted to touch it too.
I wanted to look at it. That's why I went. I wanted to look at it. And guess what, Mira? I saw it. It was enough for me.
I was just going to look at it too. And then you came along and you did the dispel magic. And I then,
Yes, because I'm not going to be searching around in the dark for an invisible you if something crazy happened, like touching the rock.
I wasn't going to touch it. And then you decided to come along.
What do you mean decided to come along? What was I supposed to do? Let you go roaming around in a random set of woods by yourself? Really?
Yes.
How did that work out when we did it the first time? I distinctly remember 3 little ones showing up at my door, asking them, please, sir, come romp around the woods with us because we saw a thing. And I should have did what I did yesterday. Turn around and go back to my house. But I didn't, because 3 smiling elves showed up at my door wanting adventure. And who was I to turn them away into inherent danger? Seems vindictive of what happened last night, Mira. But you know what the difference is? When we came back whole. It didn't happen this time.
So what do you want me to do now?
I want you to be as smart as you are next time. There are times for curiosity to win. That was not one of them, and you know it. Now look. We don't know what this is. We don't know how long you're going to be this way, and we don't know the remnants of when you are back to normal, if you get back to normal. You're lucky you have a belief system. You are so lucky that there was something greater than yourself watching out for you, because this was one of those things that Bryn couldn't pull you away from, no matter how hard I tried.
Mira just kind of walks over to him and meets his eyes. And then just says, "Thanks, Papa Bear," and walks back down into the into her room and shuts the door.
Everyone else hears a crate just smashed to pieces.
As Mira turns the corner to go down the hallway, Sisk, you are coming up into the hallway, and you basically head first into Mira in this state.
What is the state that I'm seeing?
And you hear the crash from up above, and yeah, Deb, tell Kay what Mira is presenting.
I think she sees Mira with some tears in her eyes because, Mira is absolutely aware that everything Bren said is true, and she did something really stupid. And so she feels really low, and she's in a lot of pain. So she just wants to go lay down and try and pass out again.
Oh, hey, buddy. What's going on? I felt the ship felt uncomfortable. If you've been telling me that the ship feels things, and it was coming from over this way, I think. Is that what happened?
Bren is just telling me that I was not as smart as I should be last night, and he's right. And I think I just need to go lay down.
He yelled at you while you were still hurt? He yelled at you for getting hurt? I know it might have been a dumb decision, but maybe...
Tig, I'm fine. I don't want any more coffee.
Can I'll come with you. I can see, are you hurting right now? I can see if there's something I can do to help you get comfortable.
I'm gonna go lay down and try to sleep some more, I think.
Okay. I'll come with you if you don't mind, and I'll
as the two of you turn to go back towards Mira's room, the door to Mira's room is open, and 80 is standing there, having just woken up, and probably was woken up by the intensity of the emotions, but also 80 is feeling that same kind of unease, kind of in the immediate area, not directed by any one person, which, as you guys have come to understand, has something to do with the ship.
She stands there with her arms crossed. Her hair looks insane. And she looks at you like she's about to, say some things.
Do you look, Sisk or Mira? Because they're both standing like right into each other.
At Mira, I think 80 glanced at Sisk just a little bit and sort of was like, whatever. Just like, you're there. Thank you for, ferrying my sister back here.
Jesus.
Well, no, like, oh, God damn it. Let's just walk that back a little bit.
Too late.
Hey, Sisk, how's it going? No, so she's standing there. She gives Mira just the worst look. And I would say after just a second or two, I would imagine that Mira might be expecting to be scolded once again. But right before that, 80 unfolds her arms, lets out a bit of a sigh, and opens her arms up. Come here. She'll give her a big hug.
I already got yelled at from Bren, so you might as well just pile on.
No, I won't do that this time. I'm trying to grow. Don't scoff at that, please. Not right now. Let's just... Come on, you should lay down again. You look like shit, and I can tell you feel like shit, and that makes me feel like shit. So let's just take care of you, okay?
My hand really hurts.
Yeah, I bet it does. You scorched it. That's not a good thing, typically.
Oh, shit.
Come, just lay down for a second. I'll play with your hair.
We'll just lay down, and I think Mira faces the wall because she doesn't want to, like, face anyone and see worry or disappointment or whatever else people are projecting toward her.
As 80 is comforting Mira and Sisk, you're kind of seeing them from the doorway.
Yeah, I'm just standing there awkwardly. I don't know what to do. No one has talked to me in a bit.
80
You feel-
glances at you and just like mouths like a thank you.
And as that happens, you feel a ping from Sisk in the back of your mind. From Sisk feels a ping from Tig in the back of their mind to please come to them. And you know that they're on the top deck now.
Yeah, I'll start heading there.
As you make your way up, you hear a little bit of the cacophony of whatever Bren is doing. And once you get up above and can see the deck itself, you see Tig is like picking up remnants of a destroyed crate and trying to basically fix things in this moment. But Bren is very obviously in a bit of a rage. Ian, why don't you tell us a bit about Bren in this moment?
You see him, he's standing, kind of like walking, he's pacing back and forth, but his back is to you. And for some reason, he's hunched over. Like he's got this Jekyll positioning, and it's just arms out wide, heavy breathing, pacing back and forth. Like you can see with every one of his breaths, his shoulders go up and they widen and then they lessen and they widen and they lessen. And he's sitting there and he's like half words, half animal grunts. He's just like, they don't listen. I just asked them to listen. We are in another place. Why? And I could go home. I could go home. How? I'm on a flying boat. It is just
Brad, that probably isn't enough to kind of break him out, is it?
He like spins around like fucking, you've just stepped into the west wing of the beast's castle, and he's like, and you can like see steam coming out of his nose, like he's in the middle of a like what is that it's a cantrip I have. Like he's in the middle of a primal savagery. Like his nails are a little bit longer, but he's keeping it together. Like he's not raging, but like this is kind of indicative of when he put the hole in his farm when he turned into a bear. Like he's having a moment. Yeah.
Oh geez. There are a few different things that I guess I'm thinking that I could do. Not sure what the best one is. I know you're stressed. We're all stressed right now. I'm stressed. Do you think a nice wrestle will help you work off some of this?
What? Are you... What? I don't have time for that, sis. Why? Why? Answer my question. Why are they both so difficult?
They're strong. They're stubborn. And I think you might not be their real dad, but I think they get that from you. And
I'm not. That's the thing. I'm not their father. I've met their father. Lovely man. Huh? What is it? Oriana's not like that. What?
they're comfortable with you. You make them feel safe.
To do stupid things? How does one person make someone safe to do stupid things? And his shoulders get a little bit bigger again and his eyes start to glare gold. He's like, I don't get it. He's having a time. It is so hard right now.
It's a lot. It's a lot of responsibility.
Did not do stupid things, sis. Wait,
No.
I don't. They're adults.
No.
They're not my kids. The last person that I had this kind of emotion towards and the thought of protection, guess what happened, sis? They left. So why won't they leave and leave me alone?
Do you want them to?
Right now? No. Ugh.
As you
kinda
say,
just hits
as
the
you
ground.
say that, and just before you hit the ground, Ian, a hand is placed on your shoulder. Very forcefully, you are spun around, and you see Tig standing there. Like, Tig is much larger than he once was, whereas before he was this kind of small, kind of spindly, mechanical man. He's much bulkier now than he had been before. He's almost the size, maybe still slightly shorter, but almost the size in bulk of Bren. And he just surges forward and wraps Bren up in an enormous hug. And at first, Bren thinks that it's a wrestling move. He's like getting ready to like pick him up and belly to belly suplex him or something like that. But instead, he just holds him there and doesn't move. And Bren feels this like grip around his chest from Tig, unmoving, unwavering, just holding him there.
Yeah. And Tig is so strong. Like probably the strongest thing that we have on the ship.
100%.
Bryn, there is not a single ounce of strength in him that holds him up, and he just goes full dead weight. Like you just see Bryn in Tig's arms dangling, legs are on the floor, and he's just like, like he's sitting there just crying.
Yeah, I guess Tig will kind of either, I guess, let you down gently, and I'll kind of crouch down next to you. When I said a lot of responsibility, it's a lot of responsibility for you. It's a lot for you. You don't have to hold the burden yourself. I can help you. And honestly, if you don't want them to be your kids, your relationship to them can change. We can.
No, I just don't want them to get hurt anymore.
I know.
It sucks. Sis, they lost their mother, their dad somewhere with their brother. They hate their brother's wife. Everybody's just so fucking stupid. Like he's just on the ground, just.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna lay here for a little bit. I'll be fine.
You want me to lay here with you?
Yes.
Okay. I will lay down next to you, and maybe I'll try to grab your hand. And we'll just hold hands and cry together on the deck.
He's got one hand up, and it's all like this, and he's holding the other one. He's like, "Everybody just sucks."
Tig is just standing there over top of the both of you.
I would make Tig stand so that he gives us shade, so that our eyes aren't being blinded by the sun.
Nice.
You know, I've never. If Raiden sees me like this, they're never gonna let me live it down. And he sits up and he goes,
What is Bren's passive perception?
Jesus. Bren has already said 16.
As Bren sits up, he looks up at the navigation deck and he sees Terran. Like Terran looking over the edge of the railing of the navigation deck, just like sees his head and two hands up on the edge, just like staring at all of this, mouth slightly open, just...
Oh, great. Now, Terran has seen me in a very precarious situation. One moment, he like gets up and he goes over to the navigation deck. He doesn't climb it, but he's like...
As soon as you start walking over there, Terran just disappears off from behind things.
Hey, no, come here. I'd like to tell you something.
He slowly emerges out, kind of looking sheepish, like he's done something wrong.
Hey, everything's fine. You haven't done anything wrong. Jump down.
He doesn't jump, but he climbs down the stairs like he's supposed to, because his dad yells at him when he jumps.
Hey. I know your dad tells you not to do that, but I'm the captain. So technically, I'm your dad's boss. But don't tell your mother I said that, because she's everyone's boss.
Hey.
Hey, did you see all that?
Yeah.
I am sorry. It's not something you're supposed to see. What happened is that Uncle Bren handled his emotions in a very bad way. And that's not good, because a lot of people can get hurt. Now, luckily, nobody was around, but you were around and you saw it. So although I didn't hurt you, I never want to scare you. Okay? Good. I will promise that you will never see that again. I will try. But if you do see that it's happening, can you do me a favor? I give you full permission to yell at me. You know why? Because sometimes grown-ups need reminding when they're acting like a kid. And the best person to tell them sometimes is a kid. Okay? You know what that makes you?
No.
That makes you the boss of me. Big job. Can you handle it?
Don't know.
How about we try?
Okay.
Good. I think Oriana's awake downstairs in the kitchen. She knows where I keep. You remember those cookies that I brought you when we were back home?
Oh, yeah.
I brought some with me. Oriana knows where they are because she knows everything. Go ask her for 3, because that's what bosses eat. 3 cookies in the morning.
Okay.
All right, you go.
And he's a bit confused, like, from all of that, motivated by the cookies, of course, but still confused, and just, like, nods and scurries away, running down to the stairs that lead below decks.
Turn back to Sis, walk back over. I never thought about having children. It was just never a concept for me, right? Close. One time with Jamro. Not like there was like a thing, but like the conversation came up, but then her lifestyle and me, yeah. But I didn't know that she was an aunt. I feel like if I did, that would have pressed a little bit more of the conversation.
Is she who left?
Isn't there something you need to be doing right now, Sis?
You could find
Well,
something to do.
Yeah, I should probably find something too. We have guests coming this evening. We want to make sure that we have everything for them.
Okay.
All right. Tig, I'm fine. Stop. My shoulders. Jeez.
Yes, Tig is gonna be on your ass. If Sis can't be, Tig's gonna be there.
It's Tig. She's like, God, what? I'm done, Miko.
As you are dealing with that, Ren comes back to the ship a few moments later and says, I think we've got some more people on their way up the hillside. I'm not going to be here for maybe an hour or so, but it feels like it's going to be an ongoing thing unless we do something about it.
What do you suggest?
I mean, I could shoot one or two of them in the arm, and
Jeez.
I'm not going to kill them.
What do you suggest that doesn't cause bodily harm? I'm open to emotional harm, but not bodily harm.
Yeah, I'm not the person you want to talk to for that. That's probably 80's gig.
Can you talk to them for me?
Talk to 80?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Your captain thanks you, and like he walks away.
Ren just kind of looks at Bren and then looks over to Sisk and has this confused expression on her face.
He's having a rougher day than the rest of us, it seems.
A lot's going on. Could you just talk to them?
I'm pretty
Still,
sure
like, halfway
Mira's
across the
probably
boat.
got it worse than him, but whatever. Do you know where 80 is?
With Mira in the room.
Got it. And Sisk just turns and starts heading below deck. What do you do in the aftermath of all that, Kay?
I guess it's just like, yeah, sits on the deck for a minute, and then something still feel weird.
It's subsiding, but it's definitely still there. A little bit of anxiety, perhaps.
Okay, I'll try to look around for the source of what could be bothering the ship, just by vibes alone.
Give me an insight check.
Good, I have disadvantage. This is a great time for DD Dice to show its stuff.
You do have a lot of advantages from chat, thankfully.
Do I still? I feel
You've
like
got
I've
it. I
used
think
them
you've got
all.
at least 2. Varl can correct me, but I'm pretty sure you have at least 2.
Yes, okay. Well, I'll use one and that'll make it a nice even 16 plus 3, 19.
Nice. You're fairly certain that it was the chaos that was happening on the deck of the ship, right? Because there was physical harm happening. There was pieces of the ship getting hurt physically.
Fair.
Yeah, and there was obviously, based on what you know from the conversation that Mira and Bren had, that was not a pleasant conversation. So you're fairly certain that was the cause of it.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna make a sign in the hour before those people show up that says a very basic outline of the stuff we'd say on the ship that first time, and so that
You're going to
they
make a
can read it and
museum
leave.
placard to put
Yeah.
outside the ship.
They can read it and leave. That's it.
Okay.
And we don't need to have someone who goes out and talks to them and goes through a tour every time, you know?
Yeah. As you are doing that, but before Ren makes her way down to the quarters, does Adi and Mira do anything in that time period? Talk about anything?
I mean, I think 80 would, for the most part, leave space for Mira to, say anything if she felt like it, at least for a while. She would play with her hair a bit, scratch her back a bit. And then I think Mira would feel 80 start to get a little bit antsy. And she'd feel it a little bit more and a little bit more.
You don't have to stay here with me.
I want to be here with you. I just want you to tell me what the fuck is going on.
What do you mean?
What happened?
I don't know. I just...
No, don't. You don't have to be defensive. It's okay. I just want to know from you. What happened?
I was just gonna go out and look and see what was happening so that we get a better idea. And
Yeah.
Bryn came with, and then because he was there, I felt like it was safe enough to try and figure out what the rocks were, and
Yeah.
didn't go very well.
He is a really good safety net. I mean, honestly.
No. I wouldn't have done anything if he wasn't there, and
Okay, but also if he wasn't there, who knows, right? So you touched a rock and it burned you? Is
I
that...
guess.
It's just hot? Is that all it is? I mean...
No, it was magic. Like, big magic.
Like how big are we talking?
Bigger than anything we've seen or
Yeah.
felt.
Yeah. Okay. Well, fuck. Listen, honestly, if it wasn't you who went out there and touched it, it would have been me. So, sorry, you're the one. Does your hand look all fucked up still?
Did you see it? I don't know.
Oh
I haven't
man,
seen
it's
it.
so gross. You don't want to. Honestly, let
will
them
immediately
wrapping it up. No,
wrapping it.
don't. They spent so much time getting it all. Okay.
You need to make a Constitution saving throw.
Both of us?
No, just Mira.
13.
As soon as you start peeling away some of the wrappings, the pain goes up by a factor of 10. Like
Okay.
so much so that you start, like, your vision starts closing in on you from the pain.
Okay, all right, okay. 80's gonna grab your elbow and just sort of like gently put your hand like back on your lap. We won't look at it now. I'm sure there'll be plenty of time to examine your charred fingies, but just know that it's super fucking gross, and I'm glad that you're alive.
You're glad that it's not you.
I mean, yeah, obviously. It would be stupid to have me think, oh, I wish I was the one that touched the rock and got my hand scorched off.
As soon as you say that, there's a knock at the door.
Shall I?
Do we want? I don't know.
There's another
Edie gets
knock
up
at
to
the
go to
door.
the door. Who is it?
It's Ren. Open the door, please.
Ooh, Ren.
I'm going to
She'll
open
go
the
and
door
open
if
the
you
door.
don't open it.
Hi, Ren. Hi.
As soon as you open the door,
How
you
can
see
we
Ren
help you?
standing there. Yeah, the captain wants you to go and inflict some emotional damage on the peasants that are making their way to the ship.
What?
You won't let me shoot them. So now it's on you.
For fuck's sake. Seriously?
What? They've
You
got to be
don't-
they've got to be dealt with. I'd wing a couple of them. They wouldn't come back.
Okay, this is... You don't make jokes, so I'm feeling like you're serious, but that's also like an insane thing for you to ask of me.
I'm
What
not
is
asking it
happening
of you.
today?
This is the captain. Literally, the captain said
Right.
emotional
Yeah,
damage
yeah,
is
yeah,
what
yeah.
he wants, not physical damage. That's your department, not mine.
Okay, so I know he's the captain, but I don't have to do that, and I won't do that.
Well, you got to deal with them. It's on you now.
That's fine. I think his attention is turned elsewhere, and she'll sort of like look over at Mira. So I think I'm golden.
You say so. You're looking like you're gonna puke again. Do you want me to have Oriana or Nora bring you some breakfast?
Scrambled eggs, cottage cheese.
Get out.
I'm thinking like bread, toast.
Yes. Thanks, Ren. 80, get out.
Seriously,
Ren
your
just
loving
just
sister.
steps aside, has a smile on her face, which you don't see
I'll remember
very
this. 80 will just sort of waltz off and consider going up to talk to Bren, but decide that she wants to eat and get some coffee first, and then she'll go see what it is exactly that he is beckoning her for.
often. Ren is still standing in the doorway and does look at Mira. Toast. Something to drink with it. I don't recommend coffee, by the way. I've had my own fair share of injuries, and the stuff in coffee can kind of fuck with your head a bit when you're already hurt, so. Tea's not great either, to be perfectly honest. I usually just go with water or hard alcohol. What would you prefer?
Send both.
All right. And just turns and walks away. Doesn't even close the door. Some short time later, Oriana will come into the room with a small wooden tray that has some warm biscuits on it, a little bit of jam in a small jar, and 2 mugs. One of them with hot cider, the alcoholic variety, and one with just cool water. And she just comes into the room with it and sets it down. There's a moment where she just kind of lingers, like she maybe would want to talk, but she sees that you're probably not up for that, and just smiles and nods.
As she moves toward the door, I'll hold up my wrapped hand. Do you see anything about this?
I haven't delved anything on it, but I can try if you like.
Yeah.
Okay. She steps over to you, gingerly reaches out for your bandaged hand, and just kind of lets you rest it on her own hands. She opens her eyes, and you can see that they turn a bit white. She doesn't roll them back up inside of her like she's done before, but seems to be rather just focusing herself in this moment. And as she sits there, you can see a bit of a wince come across her face. And this whole process takes minutes to do. Maybe as much as 10 even. And when her eyes focus again and color returns to them, she looks at you. All of them still open on her body, and she looks at you. You can see there's obvious concern on her face. And she says, I see fire. I see pain. I don't know how well you get through it, but there's a lot. Sorry. These types of things aren't always true in the way that we think, though. No, it's not going to be easy. If there's anything I can do, all you have to do is say something. You know that, right?
Yeah.
You should eat. And she reaches over and she actually takes the cider away. I don't think this would be good for you right now.
Mira kind of pulls her knees up to her chest and sits on the bed and takes a piece of toast and just kind of looks at it.
Fresh. The jam is some kind of berry jam, some strange berries that you got on one of the islands on the trip about a couple of weeks ago. For all Dove's complaining about things, he's pretty good at making that stuff, so you know it tastes decently well. You're alone in the room.
I think as soon as Oriana's gone, she'll like take a few bites of the toast and a couple sips of water, and then just is too restless to be in her room, but also doesn't really want to face anyone. And so I think she will slowly work her way down to the engine room, and just sit in a corner and like watch the engine work and find some like soothing from the hum of the engine.
Sure. As you sit in the engine room, you know, it's in an idle state. And so when it's in an idle state, it's a lot more soothing than perhaps it is when you're flying. But even then, you can find some soothing aspect to it. But now, I think you feel perhaps a bit more warmth than you would expect from it being idle. The temperature of the room kind of increases a little bit, not uncomfortably so, but almost like if it were possible, it would be giving you a hug. While Mira is doing all of that, what are the rest of you up to? Actually, let's go back to 80 here. 80 gets a little bit of breakfast and coffee, and then what?
Yeah, she like slugs down some coffee a little too fast and burns her mouth. Chomps on some toast. When she's got like half a piece left, she's gonna go up and try to find Bren.
I'm sure that's easily done, Ian.
Should I just follow the trail of broken items and...
King, stop trying to hold my hand. Please, go do something else.
It just immediately turns and heads over and starts cleaning up some mess.
What? What?
This is how you greet me.
Yes!
In the morning. And here
What?
half a piece of toast for you.
I'm not hungry. Okay.
Hey,
Hey.
thank you for bringing my sister back. In mostly one piece. I think you left a few stuck to a rock, but most of her is here, and that's because of you.
I'm not having a good time with this conversation thus far.
I'm not either.
Here we are.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Aren't we? Nothing. I'm trying not to be really fucking angry with her because, she's kind of fucked up now and she feels bad about it and
She should.
and Bren.
I'm going to be very honest with you, 80, and I think you can imagine that I am. In this particular moment, I empathize for what position your sister is in now, but it is a lesson learned.
Yeah. Clearly.
We agree.
Yeah.
Good.
That was really fucking stupid of her.
Mm-hmm.
Don't touch things. Normally that's something I would do, so it feels a little weird,
Right. And the roles have reversed. It's scary. I feel like you're going to start spitting out arcane math problems at me now. Is that what you're coming here to do now?
Absolutely not. Couldn't if I wanted to.
At least some things say the same.
Thank you for once again keeping one of us from, biting the dust, croaking, kicking the bucket.
80, do you shoot me straight? Do you think that this is something that I enjoy? That it's thanking me for this is like a treat for me? You don't have to thank me for keeping you all safe.
Yes, I do.
You don't.
I do, because it's a burden that we put on you every fucking time. And we're lucky that you've stuck around and not total sort of, fuck off. You sort of have a couple of times, but rightly so.
It's glad that you recognize that and you say it. And it's nice to hear, but it's not necessary. All I'm trying to do is prevent a father from losing 2 more people. That's my responsibility right now.
Yeah. I know, you'd be devastated. So we'll try to be careful.
You know damn well that's not what I'm talking about.
It absolutely is, but that's okay. Ren came and said that you wanted me to emotionally terrorize people.
And yet you
no
are
reason?
talking to me about my emotions.
What?
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 There's there's no give in Bren right now. It's legit
What?
What?
I maybe have 2 more what's in me before I leave. So let's make them count.
All right. What am I getting from Bren right now, emotions wise?
it's really flat. The best way that I can describe it is that you are legitimately staring at a gray stone wall. There's nothing there. It's very cold and very serious. In this moment, he has no space.
Yeah. Okay. How can I help today? What do you need from me? How can I make things easier? for you and for the crew.
We have guests coming later this evening. We need to make sure
Yes.
that we have enough to sustain us after they leave. In addition to that, we need to make sure the looky-loos go home. However you decide to do it, without hurting or killing them, is up to you. What I'm going to do is captain things.
Sure.
Sure.
The looky-loos out there, do they have to go now? Should we,
Yes, they have to go now. They have to go now. It's really not the time for anybody on the ship to be dancing around like bears with fireworks.
I feel like you're saying that to me as if I'm the bear with fireworks, but we both know that's not true.
It was
So
me
we'll
the
just-
last time. I
Yeah,
just
we'll
thought
dial
you
that
would
one
understand it. Yeah,
I get
no,
it.
that
I get
goes where it stays. Is there something you need to be? You know what, AD? You have a lovely morning. If you could please just do those things. And he does kind of just walk away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Captain. And she'll go to work. There's a lot happening, and she doesn't really know how to cope with it, but she does know that sort of burying herself in tasks is very helpful. So I think she would then kind of go out, greet the onlookers pleasantly, tell them that they can stick around for a little bit, but that
As you head out,
we have company.
you start heading towards the spot where the onlookers had been gathering yesterday. And in the distance, you can see some folks still making their way over. And as you get out to there, you find Sisk hammering a sign into the ground.
Oh, that's good.
Throw the
Excellent.
hammer on the ground.
Fabulous.
Thank
Well, folks, as you can read here, we're just sort of, again, gaining our bearings. Do we see a lot of people who are
No,
recognizable from last day? Okay.
No, and none of them are really close yet.
Yeah.
They're still, at a decent distance before they're going to get to you. What does the
Yeah.
sign say, Sisk?
Ooh, this
I
used to be
think-
Teddy Roosevelt's boat.
Yeah. I think the sign has a bunch of, honestly, a whole bunch of little diagrams and stuff that Sisk has drawn by hand. I think it's giving like a middle school project, like
Science fair project vibes.
Exactly,
The
yeah.
platform behind your science fair project. The sign
The
that sits
threefold.
next to your volcano. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, it's a little bit of, this is how, from what I had listened in on Mira's spiel to the people, it's kind of a little breakdown of that with the misinformation baked right in, and just saying like, feel free to say hi, but we might not be able to stop and chat. We're busy doing stuff, and it's in whatever the like local language is. And if I know that what's near Kuvalia, well, I guess they're kind of xenophobic right now, so maybe just the one language then.
Well, I mean, Entrescan is what it would be.
Entrescan.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
And you know that Entresca is to the south. And then, oh my God, I'm brain farting on the other one.
Albrath?
No, where our other campaign was centered in. Why am I forgetting the name of the country to the west or to the east?
Oh,
It shares the mountain pass.
yes. Where Mitterzing is, it is
Yes.
called. I don't know.
Zestrom.
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 Yeah.
That's it.
Wow. We both had a brain fart.
Those are the only two countries that share a border with Kuvalia. So
Yeah. So yeah, just interesting.
you guys sit and engage with a few of the early onlookers. There's a lot, like no one is rude or anything like that, and you actually probably get a little bit of they're too nice in a lot of ways, and thanking you 10 times for saying something or talking to them, and stuff like that. There's a lot of praise for the school project style diagrams and writing that's there, and it feels genuine, but it does border on that a little bit too much type of thing. Sisk, who I'm assuming is in serval form when they approach. Sisk knows that's just kind of the way the Kuvalian people are. That to do less than that is actually an offense in Kuvalian society. So maybe he has to explain that to 80 a little bit. But yeah, unless you do
a little bit of a script about things, you have to kind of reiterate a few times. Show you're genuine by saying it 80 times, right?
Right.
Totally, yes.
And unless you do something to actually scare these people off, there's going to be onlookers that come throughout the day, and most of them leave after just a little bit of time, but some of them stick around longer than maybe Ren would want them to, or even yourselves would want them to. But you don't have to obviously engage with them all day. It's up to you.
I think at some point, 80 would go back up to the ship, and she would grab like a backpack that she would fill with like water and snacks, and then grab like a folding chair and bring it out there and just hang out, because she feels like if she leaves this up to Ren, or if Bren sees that there are just people hanging out or whatever, that, things will go sideways. And the last thing that we need is to make a reputation for being assholes on top of having some, very large, very interesting ship. So I think she'd just hang out there, get some sun, and chit-chat with people.
Nice.
She doesn't really mind. I mean, I think the very enthusiastic thank yous get a little bit old, because she's like, Jesus Christ, I mean, I know charisma, and like, these people need to chill out a bit. But
also in the same token, she's probably a little bit easier able to handle it than others, because she feels the genuineness in their emotions, right?
Totally.
There is no falsehood in the praise or anything like that. So I think that helps.
I think she's more so feeling like accepting the thank you that many times feels different, not what she's accustomed to.
Right.
So yeah, she'll just hang out until she's summoned.
Yeah. Does Sisk do anything else throughout the day?
I think no. I think they made the sign. They feel good about it. They help 80 with the first few kind of small groups of folks, and then I think basically to anyone on the ship, they basically disappear. They're kind of just like hanging out by themselves in the kind of areas of the ship people don't go hang out in very often. Well, like if they know people's schedules, which they definitely do at this point, they're like hanging out in a room for an hour until this person will come and use it. So, and then they'll slip out. So they're basically just kind of ghosting.
Okay.
It's been a big day already, and have to talk to somebody. Ugh.
Yes, Ian.
I would think that Bryn finds a way to sneak off the boat.
I mean, he can wild shape into a squirrel if he wants to, so it's easy enough for him to sneak off of the boat.
Yeah, let's do that.
Where does he go?
Will Ren notice?
Oh yeah, Ren is gonna notice, but
And that's fine. Like that's fine. It's just more so of like the rest of the group. He goes into town to I forgot their name, but the first shop that we went to.
Ganthelrook's place.
Ganthelrook's. Yes, he
Yes,
goes and visits Ganthelrook.
Crap. I've forgot the name of it too. Is my
It's the Quirk and Curio.
That's it.
Ooh.
Thank you. Of course, I scrolled down and it was at the top of the list. Yes, the Quirk and Curio. So you're headed off to the Quirk and Curio. We'll get to that in just 1 second then. In order to do that expediently, I feel like you're going to have to use your wild shapes and like transform into something fast. Obviously, you can't do flying creature yet, but it would need to be something perhaps small and agile and fast. Just keep that in mind.
Big gorilla.
I said small and agile and fast. You got two of
big
the three
gorilla.
things
No, I'm
correct.
just kidding. Yeah, no, I think maybe
Gorillas
like
are fast. Have you ever seen gorillas move? They are deceptively fast.
Wouldn't that be great? Just like a gorilla coming into town and just like
Causing a scene.
probably like a fox or something,
Yeah.
or like maybe even like a dog, just like a regular dog.
Oh, here's actually, so this is something we've not gone over much. And I'm curious because, Bren just has not wild shaped very often. But I've always been intrigued by this idea that the magic that druids draw upon to wild shape into various creatures are shaped in some way by the terrain and the area of the world that they are in. What do you think of that idea? Oh
I
my
love
God.
it. I mean, oh, sorry, my bad.
So
I love it. It's great.
no, it's fine. As soon as you unmuted, there was this weird noise, like maybe your chair or something. It squeaked or something. I
Oh,
don't know.
it's this silly boom arm. Yeah, no, I'm down for it. Big gorilla. Sounds like that's what they do here. So
No, you're not wild shaping into a big gorilla. You
You're
wild
no
shape into
fun.
the fox, and something special is going to happen as you do that. But before we get to that, Mira, at some point shortly after venturing into the engine room and kind of trying to relax as best you can and deal with the pain that you're enduring, Dove comes in, opens the door, and just says, "Fuck me, you were hard to find. I didn't expect you to be in here."
Why not?
I don't know. It's the last place I looked.
I like it in here.
Fair enough. I need to take a look at your hand.
Do you have to unwrap it?
No. We got to see if it's showing any signs of infection. And this is happening like hours after you've woken up, so the bandage has been on for about 10-12 hours at this point, so when it comes to burns and such, the bandage can't stay on for too long before it has to get replaced. Otherwise, the skin starts clinging to the bandage and it gets worse.
Doesn't feel like it could get much worse, but fine. Let's get it over with.
We can do it here if you want, or we could find a place more comfortable. It's up to you.
No, just do it here.
Okay. He reaches down underneath of the heavy leather apron that he wears and pulls out a flask, and he sets it down on the table in front of you. Just a sip, not more.
She contemplates taking a couple of swigs, but knows that he's dealt with burns enough that she'll take his advice and just take a sip.
As soon as you unscrew the top of the flask and the smell hits you, you know that it's not alcohol. It's something else entirely. There's a distinct earthy aroma coming from it. And you take a small sip, and as soon as it hits your lips, you feel drunk. That's the best way to describe it. Everything just starts swirling for a moment. Dove reaches out and grabs onto your shoulder to keep you from falling down. And everything just goes kind of wonky. You don't feel woozy. You don't feel like you're going to vomit. Everything just goes wonky. And he starts unwrapping. And you notice that you don't feel as much pain, or rather, you feel the pain. You just don't care about it. That makes sense. And the more that he unwraps, the more that he undoes this mostly white bandage that is on Mira's hand, the more she can see the black coloring through. There's no red. There's no blood like other bandages that Mira has had in her life. Only black. And as the final bits of the bandage come off of her hand, she sees it. Charred, black, unmoving. It's almost like she's wearing a glove. The hand is enlarged, swollen, and it looks like she's wearing a black glove. Does she do anything as she sees this?
I think she holds it up and just looks at it and really tries to take in the consequences of what she's done. And I think, the fingers are bent a little bit and she can't straighten them at all. And it just any little movement is, even with this concoction, I think makes her amazed at how much something can hurt. And then she looks up at Dove. I'm not going to get this back, am I?
He looks at her squarely in the eyes. Very stern expression on his face. I don't know. I don't think so, though. I've seen pretty gnarly burns before in the forge. I saw a hot oil quenching station get completely overturned and poured into a guy's boot. And when we got the boot off, well, he never walked quite right again. That's the closest thing I've got to this. He could still walk. He spent probably another decade as a smith before he retired. But it wasn't the same for him, ever. He had to relearn how to do a lot of things. Couldn't balance the same way anymore. He couldn't swing a hammer the same way anymore. Even just handling tongs with, 5 pounds of molten steel on the end of it was hard for him in different ways. He figured it out. He got through it. He just wasn't the same. So I don't know what's going to happen for him. It's going to depend a lot on you, I think. As long as we can keep any infection out, eventually it'll scab over and you'll start getting some skin back. Magic can probably help some of that. I don't know, maybe all of it. I'm not really, it's not really my area of expertise. You probably have to go see somebody in a temple or something for that sort of thing. But I don't know.
Thanks for looking at it and for being honest about it.
Pretty good about being honest. Despite how much I lie in the world, I'm a fairly honest guy. Anyway, we need to put some salve on it. If you need to take one more swig, you can, but don't overdo it. And he gets out this like very large tub and he unscrews the top of it, and you can see this mostly white, kind of oily substance inside. It's like cream, but a little bit more oily than what you would use for normal skincare. Not going to be a pleasant experience, but I'm sorry, we've got to do it. These first couple of days are the worst. But it's also when, if we don't do it, you probably are going to lose the hand. So
she's going to try to do it without another sip.
Give me a Constitution saving throw.
$21.
It's painful. Horrifyingly painful. At some point, Dove sees you kind of grimacing through it as he's applying the ointment and starting to rewrap the hand, and it's the rewrapping that's the worst part. Like, applying the ointment was weird because you started feeling a kind of tingly sensation for a brief moment here and there through the pain. But as soon as the wrap starts to go on and the pressure starts being applied, that's when it gets really painful. And at some point he sees you and he reaches over and he grabs a wooden-handled screwdriver off of the nearby shelf, and he just hands it to you and says, "Bite down," as he finishes wrapping. But he eventually does stop. And I feel like as soon as the wrap finishes and he gets the final wrap, the end of the wrap over, and he uses a pin to secure it, there's a relief that comes with that. But I also feel like all of the strength probably drains from Mira as well. And he kind of catches her and just sets her back down where she had been sitting before when he came in. You need to keep drinking water. I know eating is going to be hard, but anything that you can eat, especially proteins, you need them. Get some meat in you. You can. If you can't stomach it, breads will do. Okay?
Got it.
Nora will get you whatever you need. Tell her or Taryn or anyone and get you whatever you need. Just reaches down and like squeezes her shoulder. Sorry, kid. Wish it was easier. Just turns and walks away.
As soon as he leaves, she lets the tears she was holding back start to fall. And she turns off all the lights in the room and just sits in the dark.
This room's never fully dark. It can't be. There's too much magic here. If this room were to ever be fully dark, it would be a problem. So I think there's this slight glow in the room coming from, it's like that indirect light hidden behind panels and screens and or bits of glass and chunks of steel here and there, and it just creeps through all of the crevices and seams of everything, and it bathes you in this soft blue and white and occasionally gold light as you sit there. Oh, my friends, is there anything important that you all do during the day whilst you await Zaranthra's arrival?
Yes.
Oh, right. I'm sorry, Ian. I completely forgot. My bad. That's my bad. My bad.
You're good.
As Bren shapeshifts, as he uses his wild shape, there's a moment where his fox form doesn't feel quite right. There's something new about the experience of wild shaping in Kuvalia. At least in this part, away from the city, when he wild shapes. He can feel the natural world beneath his feet that becomes his paws. The white caps of his paws, the fur turning white, kind of up to just beyond the wrist of his legs, flows into an auburn-like color with bits of black ticking at the edges of the fur pattern. And there's a distinct smell in the air. It's like a blend of ash and ocean spray in the air, and he smells it more acutely than he did before. And the markings of his fur are very unique. I don't think he's ever been a fox with this coloration. What you had thought would end up being a typical red fox has a bit more black, ticked with white periodically throughout. And there's a moment where, as you're running to get back into the city, you pass by a small culmination of water, or a small pond, or a bit of a stream or something, and you stop to take a sip, and you see your reflection. And you note that your eyes are the purest emerald green that you've ever seen.
I think Bren is like really enamored with that, and he's looking at his reflection in the water, and he just keeps looking, and he gets closer and closer to it until his head's like fully dunked in the water. He's like, oh. He's just really distracted by it. He kind of makes a mental note, but he's preoccupied right now.
You make your way into the city. It's pretty much identical to what you had seen and dealt with yesterday. Tons of people, bit of noise here and there, bit of chaos here and there, but nothing unmanageable. And as a fox, you find yourself very easily able to skirt through the city and see it from a different vantage point than you witnessed before. Whereas before, everyone kind of stopped to look at you. They don't spot you this time, and so they're going about their normal day. Give me an insight check, please.
I'm gonna use an advantage.
Okay.
Better. 17.
The 17, how can I put this? Have you ever been in a situation where your anxiety is peaked from the situation, but then the situation is resolved? The anxiety hasn't fully gone away, but you still have to do what you're supposed to do. You still have to, go through your daily routine now.
Mm-hmm.
You see people kind of doing that. There's a lot of people that are doing the things that they need to be doing. They're living their lives as they need to be living them. But there's this undercurrent of anxiety that you're getting a different viewpoint on than you had previously. But eventually, you find your way to the Quirk and Curio. Shop's still there. Nothing seems amiss. You venture in?
Okay. Yeah, I think in this moment, like, he comes out of his wild shape form, and it's in like this dizzy haze, like if you were to stand up too quickly, from sitting on the couch or something. And he's like, oh, jeez. All right, fine. Gather up. Open the door.
You knock on the door, and it is unlocked and opens easily enough. And as you step into the Quirk and Curio, you see it as you saw it before. Nothing really has changed. It's still as fascinating and glowing with magic as ever. And you hear a voice from the back. Be out in a minute. And sure enough, a few moments go by, and you see Gantlerook come around the corner. Oh, back so soon.
Yes, friend. Yeah, I'm back. I need some help or advice.
Of course, I'll do what I can. What do you need?
It's a couple of things. The first thing is that yesterday evening, when we were back on our boat, we were just doing our evening rounds. We noticed a group of people in robes standing around a very large rock. What's that about?
Very large rock. I'm afraid you're going to have to be a little more precise in that description. I don't fully...
Okay.
Where was this large rock?
And like he paints the whole thing of what he saw without the situation that happened to Mira.
Right.
Like he paints it as this is just what he saw from his boat. He's like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So the crystals up on the plateau, there's quite a lot of them, but I think I know which ones you're referring to. They're a bit big and easily noted. Mm-hmm. I know that they're a gathering spot for folks. Depending upon the phases of the moons, they actually glow with different kinds of light. So, some people like them, like using them as part of their religious beliefs, I think.
Is there any, like, specific religion that'll go depending on the phases of the moon? Like a particular ascendant that folks will gather about?
I mean, there's a few. Nocturnus people have appeared there, and it seems to be a meeting ground for them when they manage to make their way through on whatever day or night that might be. The followers of Luniesh love that place. Being close to the moon or tied to the moons and all of that sort of thing. But other than that, nothing comes to mind as being specific. And you had mentioned hooded figures and a bit of dark and ominousness about them.
No.
I'm afraid I don't know a great deal. If you did want to actually learn something about that, I recommend someone that you might go and see.
Please.
there's a couple of significant temples here in town. There's the temple dedicated to Vitharion. I don't always recommend, particularly in current situations, that people go there. There's oftentimes protests and things happening out there these days, so something to keep in mind if you do want to visit. But particularly, I'm sorry, hang on a second. Do I have the right name? Nope, that is the wrong name. Here we go. Particularly Shugo Terathos. He's a pretty good person. Can probably at least direct you to somebody, but if you really wanted answers, I might recommend going and seeing Ysterra. She's the leader of the temple dedicated to Zephyra.
Okay. Zephyra, what type of deity are they?
Zephyra is she's dedicated to the elemental aspects of air primarily, and most people also kind of associate her with peace and tranquility and being a good mediator of the difficulties of a storm.
Any of those ascendants deal with fire and rage and anger? No. Any of that?
I mean, Sombrius, I guess, comes to mind. But we don't have very many. Here? Not in this region of Kuvalia. Sombrius is pretty big in the mountains south of us. Far south of us. Pretty big south. Down there with the with Fire Genasi mainly. There's some people that, yes, there's some that credit the Fire Genasi's existence to Sombrius, but I don't particularly put a lot of stock in that interpretation of how the world was come about.
I appreciate that information, Gunther. My second ask is, what is the most powerful healing thing you have in here? And if you remember, Miko, when we first got the coins from the ship, way back, one of the things that I asked 80 to do was to take some of those and smelt those down into just blank bricks. And he takes out 2 of them and he puts it on the table for Ganthelrook, and he goes, "The most powerful healing thing you have in here."
He looks down at the 2 platinum ingots that you set down and kind of looks back at you with a bit of a wide-eyed expression. I mean, healing is not really my forte. The few potions and stuff and such that I create, you already have those. Anything else that I do make usually involves working with one of the temples. I mean, Ysterra helps me out quite a bit when it comes to that sort of thing, or at least she has some of her acolytes help out with that sort of.
So you could contact Ysterra and you could create something that is extremely powerful to heal something that maybe, I don't know, an ascendant may have done.
I can't even fathom the possibilities of that question. You probably
takes out another brick and he puts it on the table. And
no, it's not the money, my friend.
It's always the money, Gunther.
No, it's not.
It's
not. This sounds like something you should discuss with a person of power. And although I have skill, I don't have power.
Could you do it?
Not without knowing the nature of what you're talking about. Some of what you're saying is probably purposefully vague, and I'm not going to affront you for that. It's... If something has happened to someone, and it involves the Ascendant, you should get someone that knows the Ascendant to help you answer the questions.
I don't know the Ascendant that did this.
All the more
just know
reason
that it
to
was
find
the
someone that does.
It's not really my thing, right?
You
I
can
don't
trust Ysterra. I promise you that.
Takes one of the bricks and puts it back in his pocket.
Take all of them.
Okay.
Take all of them.
You've been very kind to us since we've.
You are
since we've gotten
literally
here.
laying down enough money that I could replace every piece of wood in this shop that forms the building.
It looks
your
like
money
you're going to
back.
have a new building really soon. Think of it as a favor, a down payment for when we come back. Because we will. We're not going to be here forever. And we'll need some things. So, fix your front door. It's a little shoddy.
I'm going to let your insults go because I know you're not from here. But I'll
was
tell
a
you this
joke.
much. I know.
Oh,
But-
okay.
I'll tell you this much. I've dealt with many, many a people from other lands. That's one of my specialties. Some of my kin haven't. They won't understand what you just said or did. They will take offense. So be careful. Gifts are not
You mean-
gifts in Kuvalia
There it is.
the way you think gifts are in other worlds, in other places in the world. I'll take these coins on the promise that when you return, it will be for goods and services rendered.
100%.
And I hope
We'll take
that
that door
your
too.
friend, whoever they may be, is all right.
Hopefully, after I have this conversation. You have anything to numb pain?
Reaches down underneath the case that he is standing behind. You hear him pull out a drawer, kind of a couple of clinking noises of glass, and he sets down this perfectly rectangular square-edged container with a very, very heavy, like, wire-tied cork on the top of it and a bunch of wax poured down on the top. This'll numb it for a bit, depending upon how good a tolerance for alcohol you have.
Oh, then this will last a very... Well, no, this one, she has a high tolerance. We'll figure it out.
Do you want me to get a message to Ysterra for you?
If you could,
Usually high priestesses are not so easily seen, so...
I understand that. If you could convey to them that this is of the greatest importance to the new guests, and it does involve something of the ascendant nature, and we are more than happy to host them at our ship for this.
Oh.
I'm sure they'll need to actually see what the problem is to get a good idea.
All right. Do you have a patron yet
Perfect.
that I can attach a name to other than my own?
Yes, I do. Give me a second. Let me pull out my wallet. I have their business card.
Zaranthra. But you know them to be Zyra.
Oh,
You know them to be
Z-
Zyra of House Valen.
yes, our patron is Zyra of House Valen. That is our patron.
Oh.
I know, we're fancy.
Look at you, making all kinds of friends.
Big shooting. Well, it is. Okay.
He just kind of tilts his head and looks at you. Is that a
It's
common expression where you're from?
It is. All the kids love it. It's all the rage. They run around and they're just like, Braden, you crazy. So I thought I'd try it out. Didn't work.
And he tries to like mimic it a little bit and gets it completely wrong.
There you go. There you go. All right. And then you got to make the noise, right? Make the noise with it. There you go. Nice. I got Miko to dab on stream. I was reading something that Bleak said. Sorry. You guys, please don't perceive me. I'm done with this guy.
Yes,
but yeah,
so
if you could,
Ganthelrook. Yes, you say your goodbyes to Ganthelrook, and he promises to get a letter to Ysterra, and either she or he will be in contact with you when they can.
Perfect.
Do you head back to the ship? We'll say this is probably shortly early afternoon at this point for you.
I do head back to the ship, but before I do, I go to one of the outdoor market stalls, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I ask for a book on the history of Kuvalia. Something fun.
Something fun titled The History of Kuvalia.
Yeah. Something on the lines of like Chicken Soup for the Soul, Kuvalia version.
Got it. Got it. Oh God, Varl just clipped that.
Hell yeah.
It takes some time, and you have to go. You get ferried around to a few different booksellers before you find something. Give me an insight check, please.
Sure. And honestly, this is a good thing to spend another advantage on, and we're gonna. It's 21.
Good thing,
because that other one was a natural one.
One more advantage down, but with a 21, I will say you find it a little bit too difficult, in fact, and you feel as though some of the folk are being a little too polite in the way that they interact with you, and it feels, to your mind, it feels a little bit forced. And like it just happens too commonly. Until eventually you find your way to a very small bookshop that is off of the beaten path, kind of away from the core of the city, very run down. There's probably, as you're walking through the streets, a moment of you like, am I about to get mugged? Did somebody send me a path so that I could get mugged? Could I turn into a bear and eat somebody? That would feel really good right about now, I think. Till you like are standing inside of this bookshop, and there's a very small halfling fellow that maintains the place, and you end up having a fairly extensive conversation with him until eventually you're able to convince him to give you a book that he doesn't want to give you. And in that convincing, which takes a little bit of, we'll call it motivation from coin, that you grease the wheels, so to speak, grease the palms.
Favorite thing to do.
Until he eventually gives you this book, and he also confides in you a little bit that this is a book pre-war. And that most of the other booksellers were probably trying to sell you books post-war.
Oh, let's go.
And there's probably a difference. And he doesn't elaborate. But there would be a difference. And as
Does he have a post-war book?
Sure.
Can I have both?
Sure.
Ooh.
And
Can he gift wrap them?
No, he doesn't do gift wrapping. He can't afford the excess paper As you are leaving this bookshop with your books in hand and you're kind of contemplating things, a phrase pops into your mind. History is written by the victors.
Thank you, friend. As he's walking out, I appreciate your understanding. My friend will enjoy this. Thank you.
As you head back out into the streets of Cuvalia with your books in hand and all of this understanding, you head back to the ship.
Yeah.
You take the form of the wolf once again, and this time, inside of the city. It feels more normal. It feels more like the other times you have shifted into a wolf before. You catch your reflection in a bit of glass and you don't see the pure emerald eyes that you had previously. The tick marks in your fur is not quite as vibrant as perhaps you had felt but previously. You feel like a fox, as you would expect. But the connection to nature is different, having done it in the city. But nothing changes for you in regards to your ability to return to the ship. Just something else to contemplate as you make your way back.
Cool. Get back on the boat. Turn into Bren. I walk over to like my room and like I'm like shuffling. You just hear like a bunch of papers. I find the equivalent to like a brown paper bag. And he wraps both books in those, and he goes over to where Mira's room is, not knowing that she's in the engine room.
Well, this is now much later in the day. Like by the time you get back to the ship, it's probably 5 or 6 o'clock. So the suns are nearing the horizon as if to begin setting. So I don't know. Where does Bren find Mira?
She's still in the engine room. I think she would have like fallen asleep to the flickering lights for a little while and then just stayed in there because she doesn't want to deal with anyone. She doesn't want to face anyone. She just wants to like breathe through the pain and wake up when it doesn't hurt anymore.
Bren would find her in the engine room then eventually. Maybe having to ask Nora or Dove. Probably wakes up easily enough as the doors open.
Yeah.
But I'll leave that to you, Deb, if Mira would respond to the doors opening.
She wouldn't move at all. She would just sit there.
It's darker in here than normal. I mean, the engine kind of gives it like a nice atmosphere, but it's dark. I think I go to like a lantern or something and turn that on. What are you doing? You sitting? Yeah, taking a nap. Did I wake you?
No.
So you're just sitting here in the dark?
Yep.
I understand. I've done that a time or two. And he goes and he kind of like sits next to you, kind of like slides against the wall and slides down. He's like, "Ugh, I've been running all day. Silly question. How's your hand?"
It hurts.
Good. It means it's still there. It's a good thing. Right? If we didn't hurt, it means we'd be like, "Oh, where's your hand?" Oh, and then we got a whole nother problem. So, I went into town to do town things. Then I got you this. And he pulls out the bottle from Gantherwork. Gantherwork said that this will help with the pain. We take it sparingly. Apparently, it's one of those things that'll really get you. But you're an adult. Just something to help. And then I was like, well, I'm probably not going to be running around a lot. So, something to keep them occupied. And I got you these. What was that? 2 books. Ignore the shoddy wrapping. I tried. So interesting. I could tell you what they are, or you could be surprised. It's up to you.
Why are you being nice to me?
Because you made a mistake. And no one should be condemned for their mistakes. Now, I lost my temper, and I do know that. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it came from a place of love, because it didn't. It came from a place of pure, unadulterated anger. But I need to realize that you and your sister are adults. More so, you're adults from a different family. And you will make the decisions that you think is best in that moment, and you are strong enough to reap the benefits or handle the consequences. You don't need me making it any worse than what it potentially is, so this is me trying to make it a little bit better. They're history books. I thought you would enjoy that. Like, apparently one is about post-war, but then this one is about pre-war, and apparently it's an exclusive. Nobody else in town would have it. I had to go to a very seedy part of town to where, you will not believe it, I had to turn into a gorilla and fight off 3 bandits because they were going to mug me for my money. It was carnage. Everyone was like, oh no, gorilla man, why would you do this? And I went, ha 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 ha, tell all of your family. It's crazy. Then I got a firework and I went, da, 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 and then I bought a book. So, in this town, they're scared of roaming gorillas with fireworks. Back where we're from, they're scared of drunk bears. It's a trend. I'm sorry.
I said it before, but thank you.
You're welcome. You don't have to thank me, but you're welcome. Okay. Come on. Let's go get you settled in my chair. That's central. Everybody will be able to see you, and you can see everyone.
I get to sit in your chair?
Yes, you get to sit in my chair. As long as Oriana's not there, you may have to fight her for it, but we'll make do. Come on, stand up, uppies. Here we go.
She slowly gets to her feet.
There it is. Good. Wow, that's... Look at you. Definitely a far cry from the elf that showed up on my farm door, wanting to run away from school. They could see what you know now. You'd be running it.
I didn't
when you
think
figure out a
anything
spell. Oh, go. Sorry.
I didn't think anything could sound worse than where I'm at right now, but running that school sounds worse. So,
I could make it worse for you. Listen, you're running the school right? And everyone turns to you as like the person to Orlumis, and you're married to Phelan. Ooh, commitment. That's the scariest thing. Come on.
You all head into the crew deck of the ship. You see most everyone is gathered. Notably, 80 and Sisk are sitting there drinking at this point. Tea, doesn't have to be alcohol, but whatever it is that you think you would be drinking after having dealt with, random people all day long.
Started hitting it real early. You're like, fuck this.
Can I make a roll to have stolen Dove's tonic thing? Because that sounds real nice.
Now you sitting there sipping on scissor, just like...
No, you can't because you don't know it exists.
Not yet.
Yeah, probably should not go into detail about what's in that flask. But most everyone is gathered there at present. Ren is notably not here, and none of you really know when to expect Zaranthra or what to expect for Zaranthra. And as you are all kind of mingling and talking with one another, Nora is in the kitchen trying to cook up something nice to eat for your guest. And you all see Ren kind of take a few steps down into the room, and she's looking around the room, and she spots you, Bren, and she says, Captain? There's something you might want to come see.
Is it more people in cloaks standing around crystals? Because I really don't...
Nope. I wouldn't have you come to see those. Those people would already be dead. This is something else.
Okay. He goes.
You head up onto the deck, and as soon as you get up onto the deck, you see a very, very small dragon sitting on the deck. It's slightly translucent, and you didn't spot it at first until Ren literally pointed you at it. And you see it just kind of floating there just above the edge of the wood. Very small, very blue, and it turns and regards you. And it kind of tilts its head to the side, and you hear in Zaranthra's voice, in your mind, am I supposed to arrive at this quietly? Or am I supposed to arrive at this physically?
Those are the options? Either quiet or visibly?
Do you want people to know that I am coming? We did not clarify this question before, and given the state of the people that are interested in your airship, I would not want to predispose that this is something you had considered, because I did not.
I mean, I thought you would. This is fine. If you're comfortable with this, this is fine. I hope you enjoy a less formal affair. Homey, if you will.
Do you want people to see Zyra arrive? Or not?
No, that's fine. No, if it's better for that level of anonymity. Sorry, I've been drinking, Zyra. If you want to come in secret, no, just kidding. No. If you want to come in secret, that's fine. Just know that once you are here, you are comfortable to relax.
Noted. I shall arrive momentarily, and the illusion fades. And as you stand there, and you and Ren kind of look at each other, Ren apparently could hear it too. There's a shared kind of look of understanding. And you both kind of look around, waiting for Zyra to show up. And nothing happens. The rest of you down below are sitting there carousing, whatnot. There's a few comments about, how good the food smells from the kitchen and when can we eat sort of thing. Mostly Dove and his stomach growling pretty extensively. And you had indicated that Mira is sitting in Bren's chair, right?
Yep.
As you are sitting there, Mira, just, I'm guessing, trying to be very quiet and trying to just focus on not passing out from the pain and all of that sort of thing. You hear a voice come from over your shoulder. That looks very painful. What did you do? And as you turn, all of you see Zaranthra, because all of you could hear her voice. See Zaranthra in her dragon-esque humanoid shape, standing beside the chair and regarding Mira and her injury.
Hey, girly. Hey.
Bren, if you don't hear it, Ren does and looks down and then smacks you on the shoulder and points down and starts heading towards the entryway to the lower deck.
Why didn't they just do that instead of making, whatever, dragons?
You want me to understand a dragon for you? Is that what you're asking me right now?
No, Ren, I want to go back to my farm. That's what I want to do.
As soon as you turn your head, you feel Ren's hand cuff you on the back of the head. No, you don't.
It'd be nice to have a farm somewhere else, though. Fine, let's go greet our guest.
The question was posed to Mira, but I'm not sure if she would react or not to the sudden appearance of Zaranthra.
I don't think she would turn at all, because she doesn't really want to, jostle. But, yeah, it's not great.
Very well. If that's all you want to discuss about it, it's none of my...
Unless you can fix it. I mean, I don't know what else there is to discuss.
I have some capacity for healing, but not a tremendous amount. But I know people.
Okay. Do
I
want to share more information about them?
Oh my god, Mira, let the hot dragon lady help you. Jeez Louise.
Are you already pestering our guest?
Zaranthra looks at 80 with just this kind of bemused expression on her face.
Sorry. She'll gesture to Sisk. We started early. Just
it's fine. Do what you would like to do. I was understanding that this would be a comfortable affair, so whatever you need to get comfortable. As far as you and your injury, have you have seen the temple to Vitharion in town, yes?
The one where they're protesting.
Unfortunately, yes. The let us call him the high priest, but I think he prefers artisan priest anyway. Kelaznor. He is a friend, and he is potent with the divine magics, and he follows Vitharion. So I could perhaps take you to him if you need the guidance of someone more capable of the healing arts than I.
He wouldn't happen to be the Dragonborn, would he?
He is not. He is actually an Earth Genasi. Although it's very strange because he He has a fiery heart. So I think perhaps at some point in his ancestry, one of his ancestors might have considered some fighter genasi attractiveness.
Well, I would definitely appreciate an introduction.
I will arrange it.
Miko, I have a question.
Yeah.
Out of character.
Yep.
How much would Sisk know about Genasi physiology? Like, I don't know how much Sisk knows about, well, really any species
You
physiology.
mean an intermingling of the kinds of genasi?
Yeah.
It usually results in a child that is very notably recognizable as one particular genasi over the other, but there is no predisposition. Like, if you blend a water genasi and an air genasi, you don't get a snow genasi. That's not how it works. But it can often... They can often inherit minor physical traits of their ancestry from whoever is not dominant, but it's almost always extremely minor. And so with her implication of fiery heart, it's hard to know if she, like, the inclination would be to think that he's a very passionate individual, not that he literally has a heart made of fire. If that helps.
Definitely. Okay. That's cool.
Yeah. So regardless of whatever transpired that caused this great injury to your companion, how have you felt in your arrival in Kovalia in the past day? Anything worth discussing?
The people have been interested in us. We've tried to be kind, informative, but also
the people of Atarak are very interested in you. You are the talk of the town, so to speak, including a number of individuals that move in some of the upper echelons of the society have proven very interested in you and your arrival and your vessel.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not because of us. It's more so of what our vessel can do.
Oh no, there is more than a handful of individuals that are very intrigued by where you hail from. Some of them perhaps more so because of fear, but some because of interest. Purposeful interest in what is beyond the borders of Kovalia. It is all very interesting. You have come at a unique time. In Atarak particularly, but also in Kovalia as a whole.
Zara, is the city warded?
What do you mean?
Is there a magical barrier around the city to change the demeanor and or feel, atmosphere, environment from the inside compared to the nature on the outside?
No. Why do you ask?
I have the ability to change into animals. Let's just call it what it is. On my way into town today, I used that ability. And then on my way out of town, I used that ability again, but inside of the city. And there was a significant difference in feeling. I felt more connected to the earth when I did it outside of the city, more so than just a feeling physically. My form was affected, changed. Nothing bad, but noticeable compared to when I did it inside of the city to where it was more how I normally see it. So I was just wondering if maybe there was...
I don't know of anything in particular that might explain that. specifically, but I experienced something perhaps tangentially related. You see, I have the ability to channel the elements in unique ways, and she just holds out her hand, and you see frost starting to collect in a sphere above her hand, and it eventually coalesces into like a perfect orb of ice. And then she snaps her fingers, and it goes up in flame and turns to mist and steam that rises above her hand. And I noticed particularly that when I use this magic in the wildlands of Kuvalia, it is much more volatile than it is from within cities and the dominion of construction. I don't know if that is exactly what you might be experiencing, but it could be related.
Maybe. Could you do that again?
I am not in the habit of performing parlor tricks on command, as she smiles. But yes, and she starts summoning the ice in her hand once again. And
I use elementalism to beckon the ice towards me. Does it do anything?
As you try to use the elementalism to beckon the ice from her, it doesn't budge. And she smiles, and then you can see tension in her hand kind of relax, and that allows you to pull it from her.
No performance, more so of a experiment. It's to see if I experience the same thing as you.
Have you attempted to summon such magics yet?
No, nothing outside of my wild shape forms.
You should give it a try in a safe space. Something, perhaps, that you can do potently and flashily to properly gauge the extent of it. These simple cantrips are not useful or powerful enough to elicit the trueness of what I speak. I merely use that as an example of what I meant.
Noted.
Okay, you're rolling dice.
Not on purpose.
Okay, because your insight check just then says that she's telling the truth.
Okay, good. Good.
So, this was supposed to be a meal, and as she says that, Nora, who has just been like staring at her basically the whole time, immediately goes back and finishes up cooking and such, and eventually you are all gathered in the space and bowls with a bit of a hearty stew and some fresh made, very crispy on the outside and soft on the inside bread gets handed out to everyone, along with some cider to go with. And you can, as everyone is kind of partaking in this food, Saranthra is very much enjoying what is being presented in front of her. But you do get the distinct sense that the enjoyment is coming from this is fare that is not often served to her. The kind of food that she doesn't get to eat very frequently, if perhaps ever. That kind of, home style, home cooked, hearty meal. And as conversation comes and goes throughout the evening, eventually she turns to look at all of you and she says, "So, you have gotten to see a small fragment of these lands of Kuvalia. Where do you head? What heading do you take now? Are you going to remain in Atrak for any appreciable time?"
We really don't know at this moment. I think we're trying to figure that out.
Yeah, I think we'll stay in Atrak for a little bit longer just to finish kind of exploring, making connections, trying to help Mira, So however long that takes, but I'm not sure. Is there anywhere you think we should go? Anywhere particular in Kuvalia?
Well, I guess that depends on what your motivations are now, doesn't it? Are you only wanting to see places like Atarak? Or do you wish to see perhaps some of the more unique places in our lands?
I'm interested in some landscapes and vistas that can only really be found by flying, which I guess not a lot of people can do.
Some of us can.
Mm-hmm. I figure you might know the best spots.
I can certainly help you with a few.
What about y'all? What do you want to do while we're still in Kuvalia?
Anything.
Zyra, do you have any single dragon lady friends for a friend of mine?
I do not meddle in the
Wow.
affairs of the heart. Matchmaker is not one of the many careers that I have had in my millennia of existence.
Wow, Beth. Could be fun. Sorry, I am broke. I have been broken. That's funny. Okay, so
Beth, stop messing with chat. You're breaking even. Okay. Oh my god. Anyway, moving on. The conversation rises and falls at various topics and the like. I would like for each of you to please make an insight check
Okay, I'm gonna use an advantage.
so that you can roll just one die instead of two.
Yeah.
Hey, it's a pretty good one die.
I'm using
80
an advantage.
80 is very much distracted by single dragon ladies.
Yeah, so, yeah, whatever.
Oh,
Thanks for the advantage. It's okay, I snapped out of it.
so just to be clear, Sisk used an advantage, 80 used an advantage. Did anyone else use an advantage? Because I saw a lot of dice rolling around the screen, so.
no.
Okay. Kay, I think I saw you got at least a 16, right? And 80 got the natural 20. What did Mira and Bren get?
I got a 21.
Nice.
13.
Nice. And so the natural 20 gives 80 a total of...
Oh, that would be 26, Miko.
Okay. For what it's worth, only 80 picks up on this, even with the 21. Zoranthra is very difficult to read, and maybe it's just because of 80's gift that she is able to understand that throughout all of the conversation that has been happening, there's a bit of a practiced air about Zoranthra in the way that she talks and such. But there's something that she's kind of holding back, something that she is kind of gauging how the discussion is going, something she's perhaps a little bit hesitant to discuss.
Oh, she's country. She's about to come out with a twang.
No?
I don't know, just headcanon. Keep going.
Does 80 do anything with that understanding as this conversation has gone on for perhaps an hour or so?
I think she would make a show of taking a swig of her drink, just sort of smile and glance around at everyone, and look to Zaranthra. Well, we are certainly grateful that we're working with you and not, that old lady that we met before.
Madrona is not as bad as she has a reputation for, I promise you.
No, I figured not, but,
She is very transactional.
I would imagine
if you give
so.
her what she wants, she will most of the time get you what you want.
Yeah. I'm glad though, because I feel like we trust you a lot, sort of immediately. I hope you know that you can trust us too.
I am hoping that my trust will not be misplaced.
I mean, I certainly don't plan on it. But anyways, I just grateful to be working with you.
I appreciate that. I am curious about something that perhaps you all may have noticed within Atarak. The current disposition to Dragonborn is not pleasant. I'm sure you have observed that.
Yeah, it fucking sucks. Sorry.
That is one way of putting it. I am curious how you feel, personally, about seeing such things, given what you had told me regarding where you hail from, and how that affects your interpretation of the Kovalian people.
It's seeing dragons or the mistreatment of dragons?
Well, Dragonborn specifically.
Yeah.
To be clear, very few Kovalian people have ever actually met a dragon, or at least know that they have met a dragon. But the treatment of Dragonborn is a particular interest to me these days. And I am wondering from your outsider's perspective, what that means to all of you.
I mean, it feels kind of familiar in a way. Just, not that Dragonborn in particular were, problematic where we were from. It's more, folks with magic that wasn't learned, I guess. And so personally, I feel like I can understand what it might feel like to be a Dragonborn in a place like this. And I can tell you back home, the mistreatment of people to put it kindly, it was frustrating. And I don't know. I've maybe had like one too many drinks to make sense right now, but I just, we left for reasons, and we came here and we're seeing people doing the same thing, and it's just so fucking disheartening. And I know it's naive to think that this isn't something that happens places, but I don't know, guys.
I guess what we're saying is that it's something that we're used to. Where we're from, it's not dragons, it's us. The innate magic users. Same thing that your city is doing to your kin, they did to us. so we can empathize, because we've been there not too long ago.
Would you be interested, perhaps, in openly meeting with some Dragonborn?
Yeah, we would. Wouldn't be the first time.
I think it would be appreciated. Not every Kovalian citizen has the issues that society seems to be belaboring upon the Dragonborn peoples. And I think it's going to be small changes, small steps that must be taken in order to show, to prove that the situation is not right. At least to whoever we can. And for what it's worth, I would be most appreciative of such openness. Because it matters in Kovalian. As many things as we keep hidden, as many things as we keep private, because we are a very private people. Openness is a valued treasure in our society. You were saying, my friend.
Yes, sorry. Is that why they fear you or hate you, because of how private you are? Is there something that you have that they want that you are not willing to give? Like what?
All of the fear that is currently being manifested within Cavalia these days towards the kind that are related and kin to dragons is sourced from the root of evil. And that is fear of what you do not understand. Fear of what others claim that they understand. When the Alduin, when the Emperor, was attacked by a dragon and scarred for his existence, that created the situation of fear. And the Alduin, he is exploiting that fear. And in the years since, which have not been many, but in those years since, we have seen the punishment of that fear enacted upon dragonkind. Specifically Dragonborn, because they are the representation that people can see and know. And this may not change anything. It may be a drop in the bucket of the problem. But I have hope that it will matter. I have hope that you will bring importance to the subject that I am not able to openly bring. And I thank you for that willingness to try. But that is enough from me this evening, my friends. I greatly enjoyed the food. Hats off to the chef. And drink and conversation.
Wait. Don't rush off just yet. We would love to grace our guests with a time-honored tradition from where we're from, if we could, please.
By all means. What is this tradition of which you speak?
Just a simple, rousing game of truth or dare.
I do not know this game.
Oh,
but
buckle up.
The implications of which you speak tells me that It is far too long and interesting of an endeavor for tonight. Perhaps another time.
Perhaps.
Thank you all again. And she turns to start walking towards the deck of the ship. And she stops and lingers beside Mira for a moment. Whatever transpired for you, I am willing to hear out what the cause of it was and help in whatever way I can. If you truly want to speak of it with me or with anyone else, you merely have to ask. In the meantime, I will inform Kelazno of who you are and to expect you.
Thank you.
Of course. Have a pleasant evening, my friends. And as she starts walking up the stairs, you see her slowly fading out of existence, slowly turning to twilight, slowly becoming invisible. And those of you with keen perceptions, those of you with keen perceptions can hear her footfalls on the deck of the ship. And then the ship groans a little bit, as if perhaps she is becoming more heavy before taking flight in an invisible state. And that's where we're going to call it tonight, my friends.
That's so cool.
Thank you so much, everyone, for sticking with us tonight on this particular adventure. There was some tears, there was some laughter, and I can't wait to see what tears and laughter bring us next week.